creepy with that mic, not gonna lie.
Were you talking about Scott's maniacal laughter? Because I just kind of throaty chuckled.
No, yours. Your roadie chuckle is actually creepy.
Huh. Well, I mean, again, I'm using a better microphone, so... Okay, I
Talk to you later,
leaving,
Mr. Baka.
Bye.
I'm gonna fight Juliana again.
Don't try it.
Take the guy out of his machine and eat him. Shit, I got no hands. Just use your cannons as chopsticks.
I have a big head and little arms, and
It's gonna be a few months before Scott does finish that game. In fact, he probably will finish it by next year, I'm gonna guess. That being said, dude... No, the game's very long, and it's extremely long.
Stop counting and start attacking.
You were saying, AJ?
That game is extremely long. Like, extremely long. In fact, I don't even think you're a quarter of the way through it.
What game is Scott playing right now?
Tales of Berseria.
Is it infinite like Skyrim?
No.
Because Skyrim's definitely infinite.
Oh yeah.
We all know this. This is basic knowledge.
There's only one thing more infinite than that.
The universe and human stupidity. And I'm not sure if the first is.
I'd like to think that the... Well, no.
Well, I was going to say people's need to hoard toilet paper.
You were going to say something, Scott?
I was gonna say, yeah, I wish the universe was infinite, but then again, the Big Bang doesn't make no sense.
It still doesn't.
What do you mean? A bunch of matter?
I think this is not the first time that, well, this incarnation of the universe, as far as we know, this is the first time. I don't think this is the first time that a universe of, like, our size has existed, because essentially what's happening is that the universe is cooling, and it's been doing so for the past, like, what, 2 billion years?
Put on your condom, gentlemen, this is about to get deep.
Riddle me this, Photo. Where did that matter come from?
Where did the what come from?
Where did that matter that exploded come from?
Okay, what it was that essentially it was a tiny, like, it was a bunch of matter just condensed down to the size of a single atom. And then when they got so small, it had no choice but to explode out and create new matter, which is what led to the birth of the universe.
And where did that original matter come from?
It probably came from the last cycle of the universe.
And where did that come from?
This logic can be expanded to literally every form of religion or belief, though, so I'm not quite sure where this comes from.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't make sense in any way either.
So
well, okay,
why are you trying to use something to debunk a theory when it debunks other theories of existence as well?
Because in this case, there are laws of physics that don't even let that happen. He just said that matter was created. That's
okay, matter cannot be created or destroyed, only converted. However...
Conversion therapy is inhumane!
And you can't get something from nothing.
True. Unless you have a Philosopher's Stone. But that requires the souls of 10,000 people.
Oh, shut up.
It's not possible to get space-time and matter without space-time and matter. That's the point I'm trying to make.
What about mind, soul, and reality?
Actually, you know what? Space-time matter photo empire. That's good. That's good. But no.
And power.
I don't even think that makes sense.
He's making a reference to the Infinity
I
Gauntlet.
know what he's making a reference to, Scott.
I can see how it doesn't make sense. Then again, if
to be honest,
the universe was born, what was it born from? Actually, there's another theory that in fact our universe was not birthed out of a Big Bang, but rather birthed out of a big hole. That essentially, you know how black holes work, right? We just go around eating stars and solar systems and stuff like that. But there's a theory that no one knows where they go. I mean, what does it do? It just hold something into a void and if it ether it stays there forever? That's a little depressing. People think actually what they are is that they're giant wormholes. And that they lead to a white hole. And what a white hole is that it does the opposite of what a black hole is. It's essentially the poop chute for a black hole. That it just throws out like energy and other things.
So what you're saying is that if I jump headfirst into a black hole, I'm gonna come out a white hole?
Yes, and into probably another universe.
I swear
that essentially there's a theory that black holes and theorized white holes, we don't know if one exists yet, but that essentially they can be wormholes between universes. So instead of being that a Big Bang happened, what it was probably from a black hole, another a tunnel opened, and that's where all the energy just flowed out. Just it came from somewhere else. It moved from something else.
Where else?
To
there's no
the
space
where we are now.
But there's no space. Remember, space is also a thing. Space, time, and matter are all three separate things that have to exist. Where did it get something from nothing?
Killer, what do you think perfect is?
My logic is undeniable.
I'm not trying to deny your beliefs here. What do you think perfect is?
I think it's pretty obvious.
God. Yeah, you believe in God. Which
I believe in God.
I'm not trying. I believe in God myself. I'm starting to believe in God myself, to be honest.
Well,
but
okay.
My biggest question is like.
Here's where my logic is. Again, I'm not saying it's perfect, and I don't know everything. I'm not going to say.
No logic is perfect, to be fair.
But
yes,
the way it works is God doesn't have to be restricted by time, space, and matter. So it's not necessarily. Yeah, it's not a problem in that case. Where it came from, I don't know. I have no idea. Don't even try me, Scott. I don't even. I don't know.
You've seen all the beautiful things in the world. You mean to tell me that dude created?
Anyway, no, I can't explain where that came from, but I mean, nobody can. And you can't explain where the universe came from without a god either. So that's just my logic. There's literally no way to explain the universe without that.
It's also like, how do you explain like a human soul or like a person, just in general?
Because it is proven that you do lose 7 pounds upon your death. It's true.
It is true, yes.
Like, but why did Avery get so pissed off at that?
I just don't like it, that's all.
And also,
really say other than the fact that it just sounds silly.
There was a series I watched that's actually pretty good. It's called Expedition Unknown. You may have heard of it.
I don't know.
But the guy, Josh Gates, is that his name?
Yes.
Wait, it is Josh Gates. Okay. He did a special series for that show called The Search for the Afterlife. I watched it, and I actually really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you
honestly, I mean, I didn't like the idea of heaven until after Killer explained what it actually was, and I ended up looking it up and realizing that he was right. I always assumed that heaven was kind of like this infinite, eternal paradise, and I didn't like that. I don't like the idea of not having purpose.
Well, even if that was the case, I don't see why the alternative would be better.
After you die, and if you went to heaven, you become an angel, and then your job is to watch over the souls of the living.
I don't necessarily think that's true.
And then, if the end of days comes, then you serve as a soldier for God.
I'm not. Actually, I don't think that's true. But
now I wonder how Killer would react to Archangel now.
What the... Okay, I don't think what Scott just said is right. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think it's right. I don't actually.
You never heard of guardian
where
angels?
Where did you hear that from? Well, I have heard of that. Where did you get that from, though? Because I don't
know. I just thought that since there's guardian angels and archangels, I mean...
I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't think that's true, but I don't know for sure. But...
yeah, I can't imagine, like, an infinite, eternal paradise. That just sounds so incredibly boring. Like, I would honestly rather be reborn in a different life.
You can get your favorite ice cream every day.
Okay, well...
Nobody's lactose intolerant in heaven.
Yeah, no one's lactose intolerant in heaven.
Does a mental condition exist in heaven? Like, am I going to remain autistic when I go up there? Actually curious.
No, you wouldn't.
Hell yes.
Because that's
and just saying that, God's like, oh, yeah, no, pull the lever, you just fall through the floor.
Sorry. I just realized that. Oh, why? Why'd you do this to us? Then again, I'm pretty sure literally every single person would actually go to hell if that were the case. Everybody's. I
would have to say probably since the 1980s, its population has been steadily going up. Because the 1980s was considered the age of vanity, so since then it's been getting worse and worse.
Oh, it's been bad for a long time.
Yeah.
It's already been bad.
And it's kind of scary now, because if you think about it, 2 of the 4 horsemen are already here. War and plague. Or war and pestilence. All that's left is famine and death.
Well, famine
might be
supposed
to be the first
soon.
one that shows up.
Actually, famine might be happening soon. Because nobody's talking about it, but apparently there are fucking massive amounts of locust swarms going on in Africa.
In East Africa.
There are.
Yeah. So, yeah, famine could be happening. That's theoretical, but it could be.
I don't know. The more Killer explains it, the more sense it makes, and I'm surprised that nobody else is really trying to explain it that way.
A good thing to there's like an entire book in the Bible basically predicting the future. I assume you know about it, Revelations.
Yes.
And I do believe they mention locust storms in there.
They do.
Yeah, so that's a good book to read, I guess.
I mean, there's a reason why it's called the good book.
There's also a mention to the mark of the beast, and my dad thinks it's like trackers. People putting trackers in their wrists or something.
Dispensing solution now.
Well, the mark of the beast is
666.
Number, yeah.
Well, no, it's something else. I mean, yeah, that is true. The
so much for the
666. Yeah, that's like the number or whatever. But it's something in Revelations. That's all I know.
Your actions have been logged, and you may be subject to disciplinary measures.
What?
What did Sparta just say? What did Sparta just say?
I don't know.
Sparta, what did you just say? Repeat that, please. Sparta, what did you just say?
The computer system was
Did you say disciplinate my...
No,
I'm
Scott,
not even gonna say the rest.
Scott, what did Sparta just say? I didn't hear what Sparta said. I had the music playing too loud.
Everyone,
well, I can finish what Scott was going to say.
I said
Please, Killer,
disciplinate
thank you.
my asshole.
What is wrong with you?
Wait, you actually said disciplinate?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
What the?
Oh my God.
I'm kind of confused.
Okay,
yeah,
so...
it's official. Yeah, it's official. When we die, the first thing that God's gonna do is just say, "Oh no, we can't have you up here." Yes.
God's not gonna cast me down to hell because I don't use proper grammar.
Oh my God, it was a joke.
I know.
It's gonna be like, I pity you, my son. Well, actually, no, because actually you don't need God. It's supposed to be, what is it? St. Peter is supposed to be the one that judges you.
I don't necessarily think that's true. Actually, I don't even think... I have a much different view on that, but from other Christians myself. I have a much different view.
I think...
Is your view a little bit more karmic? That the more good you do in life,
No, not even close to that. No, not even close to that. That's not at all how it works. And I'm not. That's people who think that are completely wrong. That's not how it works. You can be a super good person, and it doesn't matter. It literally means nothing. You can do great things, but everybody's still technically bad. So it doesn't change anything.
It's just a way to keep people in check.
I'm talking more about like the afterlife. I think more of what it is when you die and you aren't a Christian. I think what's more the case is you don't go to hell or whatever. Well, it is like hell, I guess. But what I think it is you're stuck on Earth, and that's what ghosts are. They're people who are stuck because there's a disconnect between them and God. So they're stuck, and now they're waiting for the coming judgment because there is not technically a judgment yet. That's coming.
What happens when the coming judgment arrives and you are a ghost?
Those people will be cast away and forgotten by everybody who was a Christian, essentially, and is dead. Basically, everybody who wasn't saved is going to be forgotten.
That's a horrifying prospect.
That's extremely horrifying, yes.
Like, did you ever see Coco?
Well, all I know is that I definitely believe in God. I mean, yes, I have a mind that is very intrigued by science, but, like, honestly, you can't tell me God doesn't exist because...
Well, I have
if I told you about the story of how I was born... I can't deny that God exists because...
I mean, I have a logic-based mind, so I always was down that route.
My chances of survival weren't even at one whole digit. They were in the decimal percentile. There was so many times where the doctors were just like, you know, Miss... what my last name is like they called her and my dad a bunch of times and were like, listen, you guys might want to see him. He's probably not going to survive the night. They've done that. They did that to my parents at least well over 30 times while I was in the hospital. I was born 24 weeks into a pregnancy. 24 weeks into it. I was born almost 7 months too early. Damn. Babies born that early in the 90s don't live. They just don't. The hospital even used me as an example baby of, like, this is a baby that is not going to make it.
Jesus Christ.
I weighed a pound and 9 ounces. I weighed a pound and 8 ounces when I was born. My head was the size of a tennis ball. They literally had to grow the rest of me in hospital with light box treatments, hyperoxygenated environments, and a whole bunch of nutrients. And
actually, fun fact. You know what a hyperbaric chamber is, right?
Yes. And they were worried that I would lose my eyesight in an oxygen-saturated environment because that's what happened to Stevie Wonder. That's how he lost his eyesight. He was a preemie baby, and they put him in a hyperoxygenated environment. But if you don't get the balance just right, you get too much oxygen in your bloodstream, and it actually chokes out the endings of your optic nerve to your brain.
Well, I do know there have been a lot of examples of it also working, but essentially pre-flood conditions would have been like more air, the air pressure would have been greater, so you would have had better oxygen. So healing would be way better. You would heal way faster, and you could basically run forever because there was more oxygen. And I don't know exactly what the scientific reason for that is, but I know there is one.
It's
and
because the reason why your body gets tired and the reason why you also start to ache is because the buildup of lactic acid. It's because you're using oxygen and your body can't keep up in converting it, so you start to build up lactic acid in your muscles and in your joints and stuff. And that's why you feel pain and why, and that's why your muscles tell you to stop and why you feel like burning in your muscles when you run. And also, yeah, your lungs, like, because your body is like, I need to put this oxygen towards somewhere else. That's why if you run for a really long time and you're breathing in, you don't feel like you're breathing in enough air. It's because your body's still trying to allocate the oxygen to your muscles to keep them moving. But your lungs and the other parts of your body that aren't involved in running still need oxygen to, live. So the reason why your lungs feel pain is because essentially they're being overclocked.
Yeah, so the air pressure back then would have been good enough it would have been much higher. And there's also another reason for that. I don't know if I told AJ about this. I think I did, though. One of the guys I've watched explained like a scientific thing of what could have, or what the reason may have been for that, or why the conditions were so nice back then. He said, or he theorized that there was a like ice layer suspended by, I believe, the magnetic field. There was an ice layer.
I was born in the 1990s, not 30 million years ago.
I know. It's a fun fact. Give me a minute. I'm explaining like the higher prepared chamber thing. So basically, the reason why the air pressure would have been greater is because there was an ice layer suspended by the magnetic field, and that also blocked out not UV rays, but well, I mean, I guess I would do that too, but X-rays from the sun, and that would cause that.
So essentially, it supercharged the ozone layer.
Yeah, it would keep people from wrinkling and getting old and all that. So, yeah. And also,
I have a question.
What?
Sorry to interrupt, but are you yourself a Christian, or do you just understand Christian beliefs?
No, I am a Christian.
No.
Ah.
But I know why I believe what I believe, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was...
a lot of people don't.
Pretty much they had to give me a lot of... They did a whole bunch of experimental treatments, and even at some points they were just like, this stuff's not going to work, he's not going to live. But somehow I still lived. And same case with my sister. My sister wasn't born as early as me, but she had a lot of health problems, and she was born as called a micro-preemie, like how I was. And she had a hole in her heart. A literal hole in her heart.
Yeah, I remember this.
And what happened was that the church that my parents went to, I'm Mormon, but I'm a bad Mormon because I drink caffeinated soda and tea.
Wait, hold on. Mormons aren't allowed to drink caffeine?
You're not allowed to drink anything that alters your state of mind.
Huh. I learned something.
Caffeine doesn't alter your state of mind so much as alcohol does.
But yeah, honestly, some stuff in Mormonism seems kind of goofy to me. Like, really? Like, a dude was shown a bunch of bronze tablet plates that were written in Hebrew in upstate New York, and the dude had to use a stone to read, and he was the only person that was allowed to read and translate the tablets? Really? Like...
I was going to say no religion makes sense, but in all honesty, that's not 100% true, and I can't really say that.
But yeah, as I was saying, but yeah, so my parents, they went to their church, and they had this big thing where they prayed for my sister, because she was supposed to have a surgery the next day, and so they prayed, this whole church full of people prayed, and the guy who was in charge of the prayer, big dude, by the way, like big, huge, big guy, like he was like crying and everything, and so, because he saw how small my sister was, he didn't think she was going to make it. And, but he thought, well, prayer helps. And the next day when they took the x-ray of my sister's chest, when they were going to do, like, the pre-op for the surgery and everything, the hole was gone. Overnight, just hole in the heart, gone.
You're kidding me.
And, I mean, I'm here, and my sister's here, and I'm thinking, well, we're all sort of brought here for a reason. So my reason must be pretty dang important. If God pulled for me this hard, like,
Well, the thing is, I don't think that he cares about people just because they're important. I think he just cares because, that's his job, or his creations. Yeah. Then again, like, I was just about to say something. Never mind. I don't know.
No one's asking
I myself was always... I used to believe in God a lot. I got baptized. I used to be Catholic as well. I got baptized when I was young.
That would be your problem. Catholicism is no.
Your ass again.
Yeah, I was baptized.
I have very bad opinions of Catholics. I don't think Catholicism is even close to right.
So I
there were definitely problems with it, and believe me, I'm not Catholic.
Oh no, there are major problems with Catholicism.
Raise me in the church.
I know there are major problems.
What the hell is this thing?
It's not even.
I mean, just because he said he was baptized as Catholic doesn't mean he's Catholic now.
Well, I know,
dude,
I know.
I rarely go to church unless it's like honor some of my past family members.
No, I'm just saying Catholicism. It doesn't even follow like the Bible at all. It's way off. It's completely off. And notice in a Catholic church only the priest, I believe, or the pastor?
Only the priest can absolve you. Whereas in Mormonism, you basically have the hotline to God. You pray to God.
And I don't know if it's still this way. I don't know if it's still this way, but the priest is the only one who can read the Bible. I don't know if I don't think that's still the case. But I know it used to be the case. At least it was back in
certain passages in Catholicism, but
I would just leave her all alone while Raccoon City burned to hell. I couldn't let my daughter.
And
in
Mormons aren't even worth bringing up. Mormons aren't even worth bringing up.
I mean, they believe that the Garden of Eden somewhere in Missouri. When he was brought back, visited Native America. I was like, this is such a
I think it's more likely that.
I consider myself Christian. If anything.
I think it would be more likely.
I understand Christian beliefs, and I'm not sure if I believe in them or not, but I wouldn't call myself Christian.
Well,
I don't go to church, for example.
Well, here's the thing about Christianity. It takes like 10 seconds to be saved.
Yeah, it's just like, God, religions. I'm sorry that I did this thing. We're cool? We're cool? Okay.
You basically just say that Jesus is your Lord and Savior, and then you gotta actually believe that, and you're good. There's literally no right. Everything else is technically optional. You should be doing these things, but you're not. Like, essentially, the way I've been told is, if you are doing, like, sinning or whatever, you're not under a protective shield, but if you're following what you're supposed to be doing, then you're going to be protected.
As long as you don't do the 7 really bad ones.
Like,
wait, you mean
God
the
just
7
looks at you and you're like,
yeah, the 7
so like, looks at a book and says, you've been a pretty decent person. Do you think Jesus is your Lord and Savior? I believe so. I think it makes sense. Okay, cool. Coming up, man. Dinner at 7.
Well, the choice has to be made before death.
Obviously, yes.
You can't just change your mind because now you know the truth. That's not how that works.
That's not how any of this works.
Thanks for that.
But yeah, I'm the only guy who had a little bit of doubts regarding what was going on. All of my family believes in God and such. And I didn't believe in God for a while and thought for what my family had to build.
I think the problem is that
people all have their moments of doubt, but I think at the end of the day, as long as you're just, willing to return. Then...
And honestly, Christians have done a terrible job at keeping people Christian. Like, they've done a really bad job.
I think all religions have done a pretty bad job to some extent, to be honest.
Well, yes, but considering Christians are kind of supposed to help people stay that way, they're supposed to be making people Christians or helping. They've done a very poor job at keeping people being Christians. I mean, look how many people nowadays are turning away. They grew up with a Christian family, but most people nowadays aren't.
I was born into a Catholic family. I was baptized. I am Catholic.
I can't blame Catholics. Catholicism is just... It's not good. I can't blame people who turn away from that. That makes sense. And honestly, the other people who aren't even Catholics but still turn away, I still get it. Because a lot of Christian families are pompous, I guess? The best way to put it.
No, that's a fair assumption.
No, that's extremely accurate, to be honest.
Even my grandparents are like that. Like, that's just how they are. I'm not Catholics or anything, but that's just how they are. They're pompous about their beliefs. Also, there's another thing is it seems like this everybody universally says this has to be true, and I don't personally believe it, and I have many reasons for it. The evolution theory.
Evolution.
No, I think it's untrue. I think it's stupid, and there's not enough supporting it.
I'm just thinking of the Futurama moment from it. Sorry.
And to say that it has to be true is stupid. It doesn't. It's not close to proven. But everybody thinks it is. Just because that's what they're told.
To the point that you're taught this in school, like at a young age.
You're brainwashed from a very young age. What's the first thing you read about? And this is in that. I think I sent you a video, AJ, but he mentions it multiple times. He mentions it multiple times. One of the first things you read is that millions of years ago there were dinosaurs, or whatever the hell. Millions of years ago is like the first thing you read. That's what you're being told from day one in kindergarten.
Yep.
So you're being brainwashed from a very young age to believe that.
I think
besides that aspect,
very, very strong term.
Is it untrue? You're basically teaching someone to believe something from the day they enter school. The first time. Very young kids. Very impressionable.
Okay, to be fair, I didn't learn about, like, evolution and shit like that until, like, 3rd or 4th grade. I don't know what schools you guys went to, but I don't know.
Well, that's when it really kicks into gear. But I'm talking about, like, kids' books where they read about dinosaurs or whatever. That type of thing.
Yeah.
Wait, are you doubting the existence of dinosaurs, or...?
No, not even close. In fact,
there's literally evidence to that.
The guy I sent AJ, he literally made an entire video. The third one he made, it's an entire video based on where dinosaurs fit into a world that isn't, based on evolution. And it's a really good one. I never actually watched it until recently.
Dinosaurs factually exist. There are reasons why we see fossils and bone structures.
Well, there's proof that dinosaurs still live today. There's still a lot of proof for it.
Yeah, like,
birds.
There is no way they don't exist.
No, not birds.
There is proof they exist. It's literally factual.
Yeah, there are dense jungles in Africa that the locals have said they've seen dinosaur-like creatures. And also, the guy in that video also talks about multiple different areas where a Loch Ness-type monster has been seen. And he actually says the type of dinosaur it would be. And it makes sense. So, no, I'm not denying the existence of dinosaurs. They're very real. They are real. And he says, and again, makes sense, dinosaurs have been called dragons up until a couple hundred years ago. Because remember, dragons are like in every single culture out there. They're everywhere.
I'll say this, whether or not dinosaurs fit into, evolution, or not, I don't think humanity was just like, boop, you're there,
Why not? Why would evolution have to be real, especially under a god? That doesn't make sense.
Well, see, here's the thing. I don't believe that God just snapped everything into existence. I personally believe evolution has some grounding and it makes sense and fits into this. I believe that we are less.
Well, that also okay. He also says.
I believe less that we're the perfect idea, and more that God just wanted to see what would happen if he did this, this, and this, and we are the.
Well, that's not what God is. That's not what God is. But let me say this. We also have to define what type of evolution we're talking about, because in a way I do believe evolution exists, but not the one you're talking about.
Thank God.
I believe in microevolution, not macro, not everything else like star and all and space and everything like that. Microevolution. I believe that you can get a Chihuahua from, you know, all the other breeds of dogs. I believe you can get different breeds. I don't believe you can go from a rock to a fish.
Well, no, because a rock is not a living organism.
What happened to her?
No, it's not. That's my point.
But
where did life come from? It can't come from life. Life can't come from life. That's not how that works. What did it come from? It would have had to come from rocks, and that's just not how anything works.
Well, I mean, this is why we have scientists looking at and examining all this stuff.
For everything.
But not even scientists can make life out of non-life.
I don't know, man. I feel like you're trying to get me to like believe what you're trying to believe, and I have a lot of trouble believing that there's just some guy out there.
What does that mean?
Is all powerful.
And why is that? Why do you have a hard time believing that? Why is that?
Because in my experience, in the life I've lived, it ultimately doesn't make sense.
Why is that?
Save my daughter.
Why doesn't it make sense?
No!
I'm just asking. Why doesn't it make sense?
Well, do you want an example of
Mom, please say goodbye.
In the larger picture of things, or do
Please,
you want
Sherry.
like, a personal example?
Listen.
I don't know. I just want an answer.
loved you, okay?
I don't care what it is.
You really couldn't
Sorry,
keep
I
going.
just got back. What were you guys talking about?
We're still on the topic of religion, and somehow we've brought evolution into the fold, and
Oh,
now
yeah.
I
Well, you guys have
somehow-
been mentioning it, but I just wanted to bring it up now.
Right about this
So,
jacket.
why do you think it's hard to believe that there is a creator?
We can talk more about that later.
'Cause I'll
Me?
Hurry now.
Not really.
Would you say it makes more sense for nothing to explode, for matter to somehow condense even when it's going out? Which, again, that doesn't make any sense that matter would condense even though it's exploding outwards.
Well, no, it condensed
For it to form...
inwards and then eventually got too heavy and exploded.
But it's an explosion. Explosions go outwards.
Sherry,
But,
walk
okay,
faster?
so the explosion didn't happen
I don't
simultaneously.
want to rush you, but
Didn't
we have to
happen
go.
simultaneously. First, everything, all matter kind of condensed inwards. And then eventually, everything expanded outwards.
Yes, everything's still expanded outwards. So that means you have to get stars from matter condensing, even though in an environment like space, matter would never condense. That just isn't how science works. You somehow have to get stars that condense. You somehow have to then get planets. You also somehow have to get life from non-life. And then you have to get that life to somehow evolve from fish to land animals. Think about that. You go from fish to a bear to a wolf to humans.
This is some of the
Yeah,
most
no,
logic.
okay,
This is
no,
some
no,
of the
no,
most.
no, no, no.
Claire?
There's,
Yeah?
you're making a lot of different
Thank you for
jumps. You
being
don't
so
go
nice
from a
to me.
fish
For
to a
helping me.
bear to
I'm
stuff like
really
that.
glad I met you.
It's
Yeah, and you don't go
It's
from a monkey
minor.
to a human.
it's
Save your
minor
things until I get you
evolution
out of this place.
as time. It's minor changes to physiology and genetics as things go on. So you go from a fish to a fish that no longer has the need to breathe oxygen through water and instead has developed a way to breathe on land and can move on land. Then you move from that.
Well, when you can get a chihuahua to breathe underwater, let me know.
So that would
There
take,
are
that-
actually breeds that. No, never mind.
No, there's no breed. No, there are no breeds that breathe underwater. You can't just throw something into the. You can't just throw 100,000 chihuahuas into the water and one of them will start breathing. That's not how that works. You can't just throw a fish out, a bunch of fish out into the air
well,
and then
again,
they'll start breathing.
It wasn't a bunch. You're thinking too literally. Again, you think that something
Why would
just
it not be?
You think that something just threw a bunch of fish and then they're like, oh, I can breathe. Eventually, the offspring of fish that just normally swim around no longer had the need to breathe underwater, or no longer had the ability to breathe underwater, and instead found a way to adapt. Could be through mutation, could be through something happening that prevented it from having that particular survival skill.
Wait, you do realize mutations are like over 90% of the time, in fact, almost 100% of the time, negative mutations, right?
This is actually true, to be fair.
See, this is what I had a science teacher a couple of years ago.
The only times that if I may speak just a little bit, Killer, just to support your point a bit here, even like mutations that are positive are usually just like a tiny bit of a negative mutation that basically just causes that body to evolve to bigger negative mutations, kind of like how a vaccine works.
See,
inherently positive mutation is extremely rare.
Yeah, I had a science teacher a couple of years ago, and I had him for 2 years, almost. I don't know if I had him for 3, but I had him for at least 2 years. And he was a great teacher because he told you what was wrong and what was dumb with the textbook that was teaching you. Almost every unit, especially in the evolution unit, he was telling you what was wrong. And it made sense.
Sounds like a guy with thick skin. I like that.
Evolution is the ability to adapt to survival. So what I'm saying is, at some point, those fish could no longer
Anyone can adapt to survival.
Those fish could no longer survive underwater in that environment, so they had to adapt to a new environment.
But why did they need a new environment? They already had an environment. You don't need it. That doesn't mean humans are going to someday grow wings because they don't need the planet anymore.
No.
They don't need this.
This really isn't going to go anywhere.
What is with you taking these extreme examples? That's not
Sparta,
how
chill.
this works.
Sparta, guys, chill. Right now. Both of you.
I don't.
You want to know what my problem is with the...
Sparta, cool your tone.
No, okay? You want to know what my problem is with the idea of a creator, how... Okay, maybe there is something out there. Maybe he started things, but that's the only thing I could possibly believe. I can't believe that there's someone just sitting on a cloud saying, oh, well, I'm just going to create a bunch of humans.
I didn't say that. And I didn't say that.
Right.
And I don't get, why are you getting so defensive? See, here's the thing you don't realize. By me trying to, maybe not 100% convince you, but at least tell you what I think, I'm not trying to overwhelm you. I'm not trying to beat you in an argument. I could be arguing I'm even trying to help you. I'm literally not doing anything. I'm trying to say what I believe and maybe convince you, and you're telling me what you think. This is not...
But you're not letting me speak. I have sat here very politely letting you speak, and then you keep jumping in. I never tried to jump in. I maybe tried to get a word in edgewise.
Both of you have tried to jump in, actually. I'm sorry, you're both wrong here. Both of you have tried to jump in this argument at some point. One less than the other. I'm not going to name names, but both of you have tried to jump.
Well, if you want to know why I'm jumping to conclusions, it's because it doesn't make sense. For one, you can't... I have to ask, when do you go from a certain type of animal to a different type of animal? How do you go from a fish to a land animal? Like, is there just one day an animal is born and it can breathe? Because that doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
Because then it would drown.
That's why we're not scientists. That's why we're not scientists.
And so we're supposed...
well, I mean, most likely it would have happened to be a creature that evolved to be able to swim in both water and breathe on land, and then eventually some of those no longer needed that ability because they moved to areas where that was no longer a necessity. So most
likely, why would they do that?
Probably better survival chances out in certain areas. Probably just a need.
And how did they know that?
Again,
it's like I'm just saying these things don't make sense. And if we're supposed to see, here's another thing. Here's another problem I have. The people who talk about evolution, the people who try to teach it or say it's true, all the time are saying you're too stupid to know how this works. You'll never figure out how this works.
It's like one of those pretentious people that talks about how good a game is, and that like, oh, it's good because it's good. You just don't understand it.
See, that's another difference between Christianity and evolution. We don't pretend you're too stupid to understand these things. You're not too stupid to understand this. It's simple. There are complex things about it, but it's simple to understand. And another thing, what is the deal with people saying that things are too like complicated, or that these things can't exist under a creator? Because people think.
I'm not saying that evolution can't happen under creator. My belief is that God.
Well, I don't think he used I don't think he used evolution anyway. But continue. Sorry.
I believe that God, again, just started the universe and then just set the conditions right for the universe, for our planet to not only sustain life, but to evolve to the point that we are now. But
here's another thing
I have trouble believing definitively in a creator because I've seen too many horrible things happen in my life to actually believe that there's someone bigger than me who does say, oh, I love you and I care about you on a larger scale.
Can I chime in on this, actually? No, you finish up first, then I'll chime in.
No, go ahead.
If I may, honestly, I do kind of view God as a parent. He wants to, like, let humans be and have them grow on their own. Like, even, like, a child is going to do a child, or just a person in general, will do something terrible, or will do something terrible, something absolutely awful. And yes, they do sometimes get punished for this. But at the end of the day, they do have to be let alone and be allowed to grow. Because if you keep watch over something for so much for so long and constantly keep just protecting it, it won't be able to grow, and it won't be able to grow by itself. And I hate to use the word evolve after this entire conversation, but you have to let something be, and even with everything that's been going on, you have to let something grow. If you constantly keep helping a child whenever they fall over or feel pain, when you're no longer there for them, or if you're just not there for them, it's going to be tough for them to stand back up.
Well, when's the point we stand back up?
Humanity has always stood back up, even after some of the worst of tragedies. With all due respect. Not always to its best extent, but it has.
Well, there's another reason I can also say that evolution wouldn't make sense under a creator. Keep in mind, these are complete opposites, and there's a big reason for that. For evolution to be true, you would have to have death before.
Evacuate immediately to the bottom level train platform.
I'm so tired.
Self-destruct sequence.
I don't know if you care, people who are watching this, but or maybe one of them's just jumped onto my chat to see why. But I've been experiencing a lot of them. And part of that bullshit, very minor example, has come from very religious people themselves have said, you're wrong. What I said, otherwise you're going to get help. Ultimately, I have my reasons for not believing, in God the way that they do. And in all honesty, I have forgotten a lot of stuff about evolution. And ultimately, I can't explain it the best to my abilities because I never really cared about science or shit like that. So I want to do right. I want to draw. To do things that make me happy. Science I never really paid much attention to, which is not smart. You're in school, pay attention to shit. But
10 minutes
I have a hard time
detonation.
Shit like that when it comes to the world because all I have are negative experiences.
Sherry, run!
I'm very comfortable with talking about it. I was just trying to... At this point, just feel it's like everybody's jumping. At this point, it just feels like everyone's jumping on top. Not letting me speak. I'll be defensive. Ultimately, I just... so tired. I don't know. Maybe there is a God. Somehow.
Of course. Stupid thing's locked.
Hold on.
Sure, where do you...
I think I can open it from the other side.
God damn it, your timing sucks. Nice work, Sherry.
We made this.
I don't know. It's not that there's
8 minutes until detonation.
along the line. I have
Sherry, you hanging in there?
I'm right behind you.
Atta girl. I think we're almost out of here.
thousands of rules filled all this information. That's what I like about science. It's constant.
Claire, maybe we can use
No one's saying, oh, you're not right.
that.
Worth a try.
This or that is definitive because it never is. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. You know? But I can't. Sit around. People say, oh, this or that, you know. It's like, here's one reason why you're wrong. You know? I'll probably rejoin the party and see. That was the other thing. Is that very high probability that, you know,
What are you doing?
I gotta get this train moving.
people don't want
I need you to stay
watch
right here, okay?
a video,
Okay.
a Resident Evil
promise I
video
won't
solely
move.
dedicated to
Good.
discussing the
Be
topic
careful.
of evolution.
Always.
You know?
Seven minutes until detonation.
But at the end of the day, it didn't feel like they actually wanted to listen. They just wanted to be heard and
Okay. Alright. It's something. Okay. Alright, it's working.
Claire!
What?
listen, they're trying to defend
Leon?
myself.
You're down here too?
Yeah, but the whole place is coming down. Look, you need to get out. Fast.
I know. I found a way out. I think we can all make it. Where are you now?
Claire, are you still there?
Leon? I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Don't worry about me. Just get out of here.
Leon! Leon! Damn! getting out of here. what's the first thing you want to do when we get out of here?
I want to see where you live.
Aww. Good. 'Cause I take a shower.
Yeah.
Really? That bad? Oh, yeah.
Claire!
Leon! It's so good to see you.
I told you we'd make it, didn't I?
You did.
Who's this?
This is Sherry.
Okay. Jesus!
What was that?
I don't know.
You stay here with Sherry. I'm gonna go check it out.
Are you guys, like, boyfriend and girlfriend?
No. We're just... Oh, we actually just met last night.
Yeah. That would have been one hell of a first date, though.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Look! He might be able to give us a ride.
What if it's not just the city?
Get Sherry out of here.
Come on.
Hey, that was Live Another Day by the great.
He was friendly.
So, is it over?
I don't know. But if it's not, we'll stop it. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, you're damn right we will.
As long as we stick together, we'll be fine. Come on.
Hey, you guys can adopt me.
Adopt you?
We can get a puppy.
Puppy?
And a parrot.
Parrot?
I always wanted pets, but my mom said they're too messy.
Next up on this boring Wednesday is a song to get your blood pumping.
That's Resident Evil 2. Yeah, it was a much better ranking than I previously got. I unlocked nothing!